Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. I am so glad you are here today. If you're new here, hi, my name is Madison. I have a business called A Holistic Awakening where I teach people how to access their spiritual gifts. I teach people how to do things like learn how to do quantum healing, access their soul purpose, and I teach people how to channel through the Akashic Records. So if any of that resonates with you, you are definitely in the right place. So let's get into today's message. This is going to be 100% a channeled message from the Arcturians. And so if you are not familiar, Arcturians are somewhere between like seventh and ninth dimensional interdimensional beings. And I have been working with them to actually work on a lot of my own blocks around wealth, visibility, and expansion in my journey, right? And so I just, in my, work with the Arcturians, was sort of like feeling drawn to share what they have been sharing with me about what August looks like. And specifically, this message is going to be for light workers, grid workers, star seeds, old souls, the 144,000. That's who this message is for, right? And if you're somebody that you're like, I don't know if I fall into that category, but I kind of resonate, I'm just going to pull a couple cards just for validation of, you being in the right place here, right? So we're actually going to work at the bottom of the deck, just intuitively, that's where I feel drawn. So, okay, here we go. You are somebody who you felt different since birth. You maybe have had gifts or experiences or been very sensitive or been able to feel people's energy since you were a young child, and you've also seen a lot of signs specifically over the past like 2-3 months that your consciousness is expanding. This can look like signs and synchronicities, this can look like angel numbers, this can look like spirit animals. These are your guides' ways of showing you in the 3D that you're on the right path. This is also going to be a message finding a collective that is feeling a little burnt out, is feeling maybe a little bit resentful towards your gifts because maybe you're like, I have these gifts and I have these knowledge and like my life hasn't gotten better, so like what the F do I do now? If that's where you're at, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. So August is going to be a very heavy month focused around ascension. What do we mean when we talk about ascension? So we as humans exist in the 3D. But we have access to things like the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, the sixth dimension, and we have the ability to activate all the way up to the 12th dimension. I cannot get there. Right now, I feel like I've probably been able to access up to the eighth dimension, and I do feel like that is, in terms of like remote viewing and astral projection and things like that, that's where I feel like I'm able to get to, right? So within that, we're going to talk about what August looks like for light workers when it comes to ascension. So we're in what we call the 3D to 5D split. What that means is some of us have soul contracts to anchor the new earth through our spiritual businesses, our healing gifts, our ability to help others. And some of us have contracts to stay asleep during this period of awakening, right? And some of those people that have contracts might be some of your families or friends or coworkers, right? So August is going to be a pretty clear split for light workers where if you've fully committed to your 5D path and you're actively working on embodying the spiritual knowledge that you have, those people that are 3D and are really committed to the matrix, they might just kind of fall off your timeline, right? And a lot of times what I find is if you just stay harnessed in the 5D, you don't have to do anything for the 3D to fall off. It'll just happen on its own, right? So I definitely see, I was working with a client this morning and, she was just talking about how she's had this very clear energy of that these are my people, these are not, but these people also might be, people that I've known for a long time or related to or whatever. But I know that they can't come with me on this next part of the journey, right? That's hard as a human. So I see that shift being a huge part of August, that 3D to 5D shift where if you've committed to the 5D, you've committed to the new earth, spirituality, your soul purpose, you are going to rapidly expand your light body, your capacity with your spiritual gifts, and the resources that just come into your area, right? So let's talk about why. Right now we're in the landscape portal, and so the landscape portal is on 8/8, but it opens, a week before, a week after. So there's this 2 week really heavy period of abundance that is also coming in with the energy of right now with the Aquarius full moon, right? So right now we're in this period of I don't necessarily have to hustle for money, but I'm making a lot more money and I'm having a lot more fun and I'm being a lot more whimsical and I'm playing in my gifts and a lot more. And as I do that, I notice that money starts to come to me easier, right? And I've been kind of playing this game where I'll ask the universe to bring me a certain amount of money. Like, hey, universe, today I would like to have this much money in passive income come in. Hey, universe, today I would like to have, a new customer come in. And I just have kind of started this banter of like, let's see what we can bring in today. But that leads to what else is going to be coming in. Let's talk about solar flashes. So when we talk about solar flashes, what I was getting whenever I was channeling the Arcturians is this is light codes, right? So there are these light codes that are coming down to Earth and to humans for us to be able to access our light bodies, our Merkabahs, these higher dimensions. And this solar flare activation is going to allow us to tap deeper into our gifts, but is also going to put us in a place where we may feel really tired, really lethargic. We may need time to just download and be alone and just process the shift, right? So if you need to do that, what was coming through is like in the month of August, if you're committing to your 5D life, you need to pencil a couple things in. You need to pencil in some sort of daily practice to keep yourself grounded in the 5D and the 3D, right? You also need to commit to one thing to further your spiritual development or knowledge. If you're like, I don't know what to do there, I'll tell you about some options that I offer at the end. Number 3 is going to be spend time in rest without feeling guilty, right? So like personally for me, I struggle to rest without feeling guilty, especially like during the work week. I worked in the corporate world for 10 years doing corporate HR, and primarily I worked in mergers and acquisitions doing HR, and I traveled, most of the time, right? So the concept of being like, oh, my body's tired on like a Tuesday at 2 o'clock and I could just like take a nap because I have an hour break, like it makes my human just glitch, right? And this is the season where we let go of some of those limiting beliefs or habits or things that we picked up from 3D programming that might not be aligned for this new chapter, right? So as you start to feel these light codes come in, what I was seeing is if you want a way to kind of check, are the light codes heavy today? What is it looking at? You're going to want to be checking the Schumann resonance. And so the Schumann resonance, if you've never heard of it, is essentially Earth's frequency. And Earth's frequency is normally between like 7 to like 7.4 hertz. And when it gets into those higher light codes, that's normally when light workers are able to access higher dimensions, the veil's thinner, we get new downloads, new gifts come online, things like that. So if you're like, whoo, this week has been crazy, I feel like I've been getting hit with like a lot of upgrades, check the Schumann, and you'll probably see the Schumann was probably bringing in a lot more white light. And when you're looking at the Schumann, what you're going to look at is those periods where there's a lot of white light. You'll see there's some days where it's mostly color and there's a few days of white lights. Then you'll see there's sometimes week periods where it's just like white light, white light, white light, white light. And what's happening is we as humans and as a planet have gotten to a state of consciousness where it's safe for us to now get these higher dimensional light codes that can help us to access more information and knowledge because we actually can conceptualize it and we're not all asleep anymore, right? So that's what's going to be coming through in the month of August. If you're like, cool, love this, what do I do next? Couple things. I have offerings for every price point, right? So if you have $0, I have offerings for you. If you have lots of dollars, I have offerings for you because I've been in both areas of life, right? So I have a mystery school where I teach you how to do things like access your Akashic records and channel your past lives. And I also right now I'm doing a remote viewer series in my mystery school. And so this is a reoccurring membership. It's $22 a month, but you can try it for a week for free. So you can binge like a lot of the content in the mystery school probably over like a 7-day period for free, and then figure out if it resonates for you, right? Other options, I am doing a virtual Akashic Records class. I have one today from 3 to 5, and then the next one will be about 2 weeks from now, sometime mid-August. I'll let y'all know dates for that. So today, 3 to 5, I have a virtual Akashic Records class, And then in 2 weeks, I'll probably have another one. And that's going to be for anybody who wants to learn how to channel. If you're like, yeah, I can connect with guides, but I don't really know how to connect with them on demand or use that ability to get information for my highest good, that's what this class is for. I started accessing the records whenever I knew I had gifts, but I had no idea what to do with them. And accessing the records allows me to access things like universal knowledge, but also knowledge on my soul's blueprint. Why did I choose to come here? Why am I here now? What am I supposed to be doing? I have gifts. What's next? What does my audience need? All that, right? So if that resonates and you feel like, yes, I want to learn how to channel, join that virtual class. If you're like, that's super cool, I don't feel ready to channel yet, but I would like for somebody to maybe channel that information for me, I do offer one-on-one readings. And so that one-on-one reading is just going to look like us having kind of a dialogue like this and me sharing or channeling information from your spirit guides to you about the season of life you're in and what you need to know going forward. So those are some of the offerings that I really feel like if you resonated with this message, that's probably where you can go next. Other things, I'm doing a retreat in Hilton Head. If you guys did not know, September 11th to September 14th, we're going to Hilton Head, women's only retreat. Every day we're doing a mix of spiritual work and fun things. So like one night we have a mermaid night, but we're also doing things like using quantum codes to kind of control, alt, delete timelines that we want to release, and using quantum codes to bring in new timelines to kind of override, you know, limiting beliefs and self-sabotage and things like that, right? So it's going to be incredibly transformational, but also just incredibly wholesome from like a whimsical girlhood perspective, right? So final thing I'll pitch for y'all, and then I will leave you alone. It is, I have some PDFs, right? So I have a 30-day Quantum Leap PDF where you can literally just download this downloadable, and every day for 30 days it gives you activations to do to quantum leap into your highest timeline. And I also have a PDF that is for new spiritual business owners. I like to say if you're in your flounder season of being a new spiritual business owner, I've been there, and it took me a long time to figure out like how to get out of it. Now that I have kind of this like formula broken down for you guys. All that's accessible in the show notes, and I would love to work with you guys in whatever capacity feels aligned for you. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will be back with another live probably tomorrow afternoon, and happy healing.